What we're about to do now is take you through the terror matrix as we understand it at this stage. We brought you the first picture, the first link to the Indian Mujahideen when we brought you our coverage just moments after yesterday's attack in Hyderabad. What we're going to do now is put on your screen the main conspirators. Take a look at your screen very closely. There are 5 individuals on your screen, starting with Riyaz Bhatkal. He is the Indian Mujahideen founder. He is currently based in Pakistan. Yasin Bhatkal is the India chief of the Indian Mujahideen. He is based in India and he's been in touch and activated a Hyderabad cell that comprises of at least 3 individuals, and those 3 individuals we know are on your screen right now. The brain behind this entire operation, as always, was Riyaz Bhatkal. He masterminded the attack sitting in Pakistan. He's on the payrolls of the Pakistan ISI. Yasin Bhatkal took direct orders from Riyaz Bhatkal while he was sitting in Pakistan. Yasin was in India. He reactivated the Indian Mujahideen sleeper cell in Hyderabad, which comprised those 3 people that we just showed you. At least 3 Indian Mujahideen operatives were part of the Hyderabad cell. You heard their names first and you saw their pictures first here on Headlines Today. Waqas, Tabrez and Manzar. A meeting between Yasin Bhatkal and the 3 operatives took place in a guest house in Hyderabad on the 18th of January, just 33 days ago, at which point Manzar had booked that guest house room under the alias Amitesh Sinha. After instructions were given to the sleeper cell, the cell decided to fall back on the very successful, tried and tested formula that has been espoused by the Indian Mujahideen for a whole slew of attacks on Indian territory in the last few years. Improvised explosive devices in tiffin carriers, strapped to bicycles or motorcycles with timer devices. And remember what Headlines Today again told you first yesterday, there was a CCTV malfunction. Remember, the police chief of Andhra has said there was no malfunction of the CCTV cameras. They were simply not pointed towards where the attack took place because they were there primarily for traffic purposes. But as you well know, if there is no video, the investigation is going to be that much more difficult. This is the terror matrix, a clear sign that this was an attack that was planned and executed with surgical precision by the Indian Mujahideen. Joining us now for more on this story and to bring us context on the very latest as far as this investigation is concerned, Editor Investigations Ashish Khaitan. You heard the words Indian Mujahideen from him first when we were reporting on this story, and you're going to see it across channels, but Headlines Today give you the picture first right here. We're also with us is RSN Singh. He's a well-known security affairs analyst and a former officer with the Research and Analysis Wing. Also with us, our editor Strategic Affairs Gaurav Sawant and our deputy editor Karthikeya Sharma to get us a perspective on the political fallout of what has happened in Hyderabad. Ashish, I'd like to come to you first for a quick update on where things stand as far as the investigation is concerned. We've just painted a reasonably detailed picture, Ashish, of the terror matrix, starting with Riyaz Bhatkal sitting in Pakistan, right down to those 3 people, Manzar, Tabrez and Wasak sitting in Hyderabad. Obviously, they're no longer there. Just take us through where things stand right now as far as the security agencies are concerned and the link to the Indian Mujahideen.
Well, over the last 6-7 years now, at least since 2005, every major terror attack in inland India, which is outside Kashmir and outside insurgency affected areas,
yes,
has been the handiwork of Indian Mujahideen. Until 2008, the intelligence agencies and the security agencies were completely clueless of the existence of Indian Mujahideen. It was in 2008, after the Batla House encounter, that we first stumbled upon Indian Mujahideen. We managed to neutralize quite a few Indian Mujahideen foot soldiers in 2008. It was
yes,
a concerted operation by different agencies, but the leadership of Indian Mujahideen by and large remained intact, and it has remained intact for the last 4 or 5 years. On the contrary, what has happened, that Riyaz Bhatkal, Iqbal Bhatkal, now even Fayaz Kagzi, Muhammad Sajid, Shahnawaz, all these big names,
yes,
who are capable of assembling bombs, who are capable of recruiting new foot soldiers, who are capable of arranging finance, they have found safe haven in Pakistan, and their lifeline with LET and with ISI is pretty much intact. So where we have failed, we have over the last 4 years have failed in laying our hands on the leadership of Indian Mujahideen.
Yeah.
Though on and off, as we recently, the last year, the Delhi police was successful in nabbing quite a few foot soldiers from Bihar, but they are only foot soldiers. The reason why we are facing attack after attack is that the leadership of Indian Mujahideen, the likes of Yasin Bhatkal, Riyaz Bhatkal, Iqbal Bhatkal, Amir Raza Khan,
Yes.
they are still at large and are planning new attacks with impunity.
Well, that's the real problem. The head hasn't been chopped off. It's as simple as that, as a result of which we're almost cursed to face attack after attack with literally the same modus operandi. The Indian Mujahideen cannot even be bothered to change the manner in which it conducts these attacks, simply because there is not any effective follow-up. Before I go to my other experts and guests, I want to go across and get a quick ground report from Headlines Today's Mridula Chunduru. He joins me from the blast site. Mridula, I understand that the DGP was at the site just a short while ago for another field examination. We did catch a few words of what he said. What are you being able to gather from the ground about the investigation, Mridula?
Well, the police high officials have been reviewing the situation. In fact, sometime back, the Commissioner of Hyderabad, Thirumal Rao, was there at the ground level, and when he spoke to us there, he did tell that the investigation was progressing. And a little while earlier, we had spoken to the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh also, and he was saying, while not going into the details of the investigation, they are very confident that they have collected enough evidence to try and nail the culprits, and that they will be looking at that. One clarification that was made by the police officials was that the CCTV cameras that were supposed to have been placed at that junction, they didn't really capture. There was some footage that was received, but they didn't capture the blast itself. But there was some kind of a sound or noise that was captured from the speakers or from the audio of that video. But beyond that, they can't really establish anything more at this point of time. They are going through that particular evidence. Last night, and the forensic team, the clues team, were all over the place trying to gather as much evidence as possible. But obviously, the minute the blast have occurred, there was a complete ruckus there. Everything went haywire, and there were a lot of people who contaminated evidence.
Yes.
And that has become the biggest challenge to wade through the debris and find evidence that can actually nail the culprits, that can find who actually was behind it. But we are getting information of ammonium nitrate being used in this, and that is why, and some of the typical explosive substances that Indian Mujahideen has been using in the past, those were found in the site. But I have to tell you this, Shiv, Rohini, my colleague, was at the hospital where most of the injured were taken, and there the doctors have told her that the intensity of they were the ones who treated the previous blast victims also in 2007, and they were saying that the intensity of the blast was much higher this time around. The wounds and injuries were much severe this time around, and that is why surgeries had to be performed on an emergency basis on all of them.
Okay, the intensity of the blast was much higher, is what Mridula is reporting from Hyderabad, along with Rohini Swami, who actually visited several of the hospitals where people are actually being treated. Editor Strategic Affairs Gaurav Sawant is also with us. I'm going to go across to Colonel Arasan Singh in just a moment. But Gaurav, I'd like to bring you in here. We're already seeing a blame game of sorts, break out, Gaurav, between Kiran Kumar Reddy on the one hand, Sushil Kumar Shinde on the other, about the nature of the intelligence that was actually shared between the centre and the state in the aftermath of the Afzal Guru hanging. It appears that it simply wasn't specific enough for there to have been any actionable follow-up from the state.
That's what the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Kiran Kumar Reddy, told Headlines Today. General alerts were given to us and 8 days before this incident took place. But the Home Minister on the floor of the House said not one but 3 alerts were given to Andhra Pradesh. The first was a general alert. Then there were 2 alerts on the 19th and the 20th, which were specific to Andhra Pradesh, specific about Hyderabad. Now, clearly, dots had to be joined. There were pieces of intelligence that had begun to come in as early as October 2012, when a module was busted in Delhi. That is when you knew that Indian Mujahideen was planning to target Dilsukh Nagar.
Yes.
That was the first piece of intelligence that came in. The interrogation of those terrorists revealed that they had some local contacts also. Were those local contacts tapped? Sadly, no. Then on the 18th of January this year, which is just a month ago, on the 18th of January, 3 Indian Mujahideen terrorists who are now suspected to have been involved in this terror attack. They hired a lodge in Hyderabad. There was a specific alert that they are going to be there, arrest them.
Correct.
The police raided that lodge but failed to arrest them. Did they then trail these people, or did that lead go cold? These are issues that the Kiran Kumar Reddy government and more so the Hyderabad police need to answer. But that's one aspect, that's one part of the story. While Ashish Khaitan was, editor investigations was telling us that you've been able to neutralize some of the modules but never the heads.
Yes.
The heads may be in Pakistan, but the instructions are coming into India. How are those instructions coming? Through airwaves. They're talking to their contacts on phone. Why aren't those phones being tapped? Money is coming in. Where is that money coming in from? Why is the money trail not being suffocated? After the Bhatla house encounter, some terrorists were killed. Some went and hid in houses of politicians. You and I know what politicians they went and stayed in, whose houses they went and stayed in.
Yes.
We all know about the political patronage that some of these terrorists enjoy. Why is it that the country is not going after these terrorists and the political patronage that they continue to enjoy in some states across the country? And it's not terrorists of any hue or color. Terrorists are terrorists. Whoever be a terrorist, there needs to be a nationwide effort to go after them and those who support them. That unfortunately is still not happening.
That definitely is still not happening, as a result of which we're sort of almost endlessly cursed to face terror attacks of this kind on our territory. I'd like to bring in Colonel R.S.N. Singh, former officer with the Research and Analysis Wing and a Security Affairs analyst now. Colonel Singh, how are you reading this entire incident? We spoke to you yesterday as well. And you know, as we've shown, the modus operandi, the manner in which this entire operation was carried out, it appears like the Indian Mujahideen, is in a very powerful position, because at the end of the day, some of their foot soldiers get picked up by the police, interrogated, but nobody does anything after that, because attack after attack seems to have like a signature set of methodologies employed. They are not even under pressure to change their ways.
To begin with, you spoke about intelligence.
Yes.
I mean, it couldn't have been more specific, than this under the circumstances.
Okay.
The second point I want to belabor upon is that if the intelligence had not been specific, let me tell you, you would have not been able to unravel this case with such a speed. So that needs to be taken into consideration. The third point you said, that how is it that we are one incident after another. Look, there are two approaches. The one approach is the apolitical approach and the professional approach where you really are interested in making the country secure. So if you take that approach, you will go in for the root causes, the epicenter, the people who are planning these, this terrorism. But if you adopt the political approach, then you move from one incident to another. And during, when there is a lull, when there is a tactical lull, or when there is a calibrated lull, you tend to, then politicize the matter more. And that is what has happened after 26/11. Because we have been, politicizing the matter, we have been just moving from one incident to another, and we never have ever adopted a holistic approach. And that is why, you have this repeat of terrorist attacks. The terrorist discourse hasn't changed. Their patronage hasn't changed.
Yes.
Their Hafiz Saeed moves about freely in Pakistan, who is the mastermind of all these attacks. The military intelligence establishment of Pakistan has not given up the proxy war.
Colonel Singh, just hold on to that thought. Just hold on to that thought for a minute. I just want to bring in our editor investigations, Ashish Khaitan, for a couple of those points that you made. Ashish, Colonel Singh says that
Yes.
the fact that so many details have come out so quickly after this attack suggests that the intelligence or the inputs provided by the center couldn't have been any more specific. What is the information that you have?
I'd like to clarify for our viewers here that the case has not been cracked or solved. This is just intelligence analysis. With all the available intelligence so far, with all the available names so far, this is the intelligence analysis which has been put together by counter-terror experts in NIA and the IB. So when we take the names of Yasin Bhatkal, Waqas, Tabrez, and so on, we are taking the names which are already there on the on the radar of the intelligence agencies, because these names have been behind all major blasts, rather 6 major blasts since 2008. Tabrez and Waqas were behind the Pune blast recently. They were also behind the Mumbai blasts in 2011. Yasin Bhatkal was the one who planted the bomb at Pune German Bakery.
Yes.
He was the one who also planted the bomb at Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore in 2010, and is also behind the recent Pune blast and the Mumbai blast. So these are the names which have been behind the last 6 major blasts.
Yes.
So the intelligence agencies believe that they are the prime suspect, they are the first suspects, but by no stretch the case has been solved. The case remains unsolved. There are no clear clues about this specific plot. This is a larger terror plot which we are decoding here. That Indian Mujahideen has been the part of the larger terror plot. Of late, what we have also seen is a fusion of some other smaller terror wings, like the one headed by Fayaz Kagzi, Zulfikar, Zabi. They have also fused Indian Mujahideen. So Indian Mujahideen, last night we used the word Hydra-headed dragon.
Yes.
Indian Mujahideen has emerged as a Hydra-headed dragon. There's a lot of logistical, financial expertise coming from ISI and the LET, and there are new recruits, new modules which are taking shape on a daily basis, or rather on a continuing basis. So yes, this is the intelligence analysis, but by no stretch of imagination the case has been solved.
The case has not been solved. It's not even close to being solved. This is intelligence analysis that only provides a context and perhaps the first few vital leads to where the investigation is really headed. Gentlemen, stay with me for a moment. 20 hours after the blast in Hyderabad, we have seen our leaders very, very angry. The opposition pointing accusing fingers at the government hitting back. The state blaming the center, and vice versa. That's common stuff. 16 lives have been lost, but for our politicians, it is business as usual. They remain busy doing what they do best. Protect their turf and accuse the other party. But as they squabble, an entire nation pays the price.
The twin blast took place in a busy locality of Dilsukh Nagar area.
They have conducted recce in Hyderabad.
जानकारी होने के बाद भी घटना घटती है.
A day after the attacks, politicians who should be asking themselves questions as to why and how they failed India did not even waste a moment to score political points and shun the blame. Sample this.
National safety is not the responsibility of one person or one organization. We need to get our act together and have a swift response system. And if it means the NCTC, then so be it. I wish people would see it that way.
National Investigating Agency ने जो स्टेट्स को संदेश भेजा, उसमें स्पेसिफिकली हैदराबाद का नाम है. मुजाहिदीन ने, लश्करी तोयबा ने, पब्लिकली हफीज सईद ने स्टेटमेंट दिया, हम लोग जो कसब और अफजल गुरु को जो फांसी पे चढ़ाया उसका बदला लेंगे, ऐसा उन्होंने स्पष्ट रूप में कह दिया. इससे और क्या चाहिए? और ये सरकार पूरा टेररिज्म का मामला को कैजुअल ले रहे, गंभीरता से जो समस्या को लेना चाहिए उसके लिए वो सरकार तैयार नहीं है. हमारा हिसाब से ये कोई पॉलिटिकल इश्यू नहीं है, ये देश का सुरक्षा के साथ जुड़े हुए मामला है.
But protest as they might, they cannot run away from the fact that their actions have compromised India's security. Here's what we mean. In the first instance, the Hyderabad blasts have shown that there is a need for better intelligence sharing between the state and the centre. This was exactly what was felt after 26/11, and therefore the NCTC was mooted. But sadly, insecurities over turf meant that our politicians conspired against this vital need and compromised our safety. Perhaps the most evil of games that politicians have played is that they have tried to communalize politics to win votes. Whether it is politicizing the hanging of terrorists or using religion to drive a wedge in society, politicians have given radicals the support that they have been seeking to influence young minds and plot against India.
बताओ मेरे भाई, अरे ऐसा जुल्म, ऐसा सितम
हमारे साथ हुआ, हमको इंसाफ नहीं मिला।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो या आरएसएस के हो, उनकी जो ट्रेनिंग कैंप है वो हिंदू टेररिज्म बढ़ाने का काम देख रहे हैं।
आणि महाराष्ट्राचे पोलीस जर तिकडे जाऊन त्या गुन्हेगारांना पकडण्यात तुम्ही जर अडथळे आणले तर भविष्यामध्ये महाराष्ट्रामध्ये राहणारा प्रत्येक बिहारी हा घुसखोर आहे म्हणून आम्ही घाबरून आहे.
The words and deeds of politicians are just as responsible as our tardy intelligence set up for the terror attacks that are bleeding India. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.